what is going on. Kwa nini mnatesa watoto wa Kenya? When these our watoto are in the streets, do you people listen to them? I've seen UPS Dr. Beatrice here.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I am under the weather, but you are my bosses, you're our bosses. I'm listening very keenly, and I'm very happy to join you this evening. Before I say anything, I want to speak like a mother. I'm a mother of many, and I'm also a mother of all the university students. I empathize with all comrades and every family, every brother, sister, cousin here who have missing relatives, missing classmates. I feel your pain, the pain of a mother. I feel your desolation. I want to assure you that government is not your enemy. The individuals without regard for the rule of law are the enemy. Your anger is genuine. Let us give state institutions time to bring the perpetrators to book. Education, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of our conditions as men. It is the balancing wheel of the social machinery. Allow me, my bosses, because you're the ones who have employed me, before I answer your questions, to just emphasize that as government, we appreciate the resources that families are investing in the education of our children. We share a common interest in these resources being used optimally so that we can produce quality graduates and also find jobs for our children who complete university education. The government, too, has been investing in education. And as you know, everybody talks about the differentiated unit cost. Please, now that I'm here, allow me, my bosses, to explain to you how this differentiated unit cost used to work. In this differentiated unit cost, every cost of a program was determined scientifically. And so let me use the example of medicine, which is actually the most expensive. Medicine at 612,000 Kenya shillings each year. So when medicine was, it is 612,000 Kenya shillings a year. It has been during the differentiated unit cost, and it is even now. But what happened during the differentiated unit cost when students were paying only 16,000? So they paid 16,000, that is 8,000 semester 1 and 8,000 semester 2. But then universities had other charges, medical, library, identity, and so put together, they were paying an average of 50,000. And I'm sure I have comrades listening here who can say the truth that they were actually paying an average of 50,000. So that means from around 28,000 to around 70,000. So that is what the university students were paying.
Okay.
Now,
Let's hold on
government,
there. You just have to answer these questions directly. The technical jargon can be left to the technocrats. What most of Professor and his team who are struggling to get IDs, who are struggling to be in the university, they have no food, they have nowhere to go, yet they're supposed to be in class. The question is their fees going to be revised downwards?
I'm getting there because I want to clarify that fees has not increased. That is why I'm getting there. So when the students were paying 50,000, government was obliged to pay 80% of the 612,000. But over time, government never paid this 612, 80% of the 612. It was paying from 67%, and by the time we came in, it had gone down to 34%. So what am I saying? I'm saying that nobody was paying this cost to educate our children. And that's why our universities were insolvent. That is why Egerton, for example, was paying lecturers 60% of their salaries. Lecturers were committing suicide. And so we said, how do we share?
PS, please,
Yes,
let me
yes.
get this clear. So the government was not paying lecturers. The lecturers were committing suicide. And therefore, to mitigate lecturers from committing suicide, you increase fees on students. Because that's what you're trying to say.
I have explained that fees has not increased. It is a matter of these fees being shared between government and households. And how does, according to the new framework, how does the government support? Depending on the level of the students who have the greatest level of need, government supports 95%. 70% scholarship, 25% loan, and the student pays only 5%. This is what has not been clear. So if the school fees is 600,000, for example, for medicine, our most vulnerable students will pay only 30,000. 15,000 semester 1, 15,000 semester 2. And I am saying, I'm in Jogo House, 10th floor. If any student who is vulnerable is not paying 5%, come to my office. Let us address your issue.
Thank you.
Because
Hold it
that
there.
is the framework.
Hold it there, Beatrice. Steve, unasikia hii maneno?
Yes, niko on.
Unasikia hii maneno serikali inasema?
Nimesikia hiyo maneno.
Allow me to answer the question.
Just hold on, a bit.
Okay, allow me to answer the question. Students who don't have IDs, can they apply for government support? Yes, they can apply. They can apply using their birth certificates. They can apply using the COOPS, Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service has given them a unique identifier, a number. That is enough. Any student who does not have an ID, please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a family, let them apply. And if they have any problem, my office is open. Let them come to me. I will help them.
What is your office?
Jogo House, 10th floor.
10th floor.
Yes.
Room number?
It is at the right corner, at the end of the right corner of the corridor. Nobody can miss it. Yes, I am there to serve you, and I am ready and willing to serve you any day of the day, any time of the day and night.
All right.
That's why I'm
so
here.
if you're a student, I know most of them are in my DM.
Yes.
If you have an issue with your university, paying fees, applying loan, help, and all those, go to Jogo House, floor number 10, and occupy the room at the right corner. And tell her you came to space and you promised this. Why am I being paid? Why am I being told to pay this much? So hold in there, Dr. Beatrice.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, Honorable Steve.
Yes, Eric.
Go on. Jiru, we are also waiting for Jiru to come and we continue. Asante. Edgar, you can take over.
Okay. Yeah, Eric, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I'm glad to see we are heading somewhere as a country where people can deliberate and look for fundamental solutions to our problems. Now, just to begin with, I'd like to add on the issue of IDs, what Professor was speaking about. And I want to let Kenyans know that this issue of ID, it is not what people perceive. I want Kenyans to understand that Kenya has been chosen as a pilot country in the implementation of what we call the New World Order. The New World Order agenda is an agenda that entails what we call a one world government. And this is not an agenda that was started yesterday. It is an agenda that has been put on set from the year 1946 after the Second World War. Immediately after the Second World War, on the 13th of February in 1946, the UN formulated what we call the UN Charter with one goal. And the entire goal was to break down sovereignties of all countries and build what we call a one world government. During that time, let me just take you through so you understand, and I'll reach the ID so that we understand where we're going as a country, because we seem to look at things at the face value, but without us understanding the root cause of our problems, I don't think we'll find a fundamental solution. So from the 1940s and 50s, this agenda was spearheaded by a group of billionaires called the Bilderberg Group. The Bilderberg Group are the richest families in the world. Name them the Rothschild, the Rockefellers, the House of Lorraine, the Habsburgs, all of them. And towards 1970s, they formulated and rebranded into a group known as the World Economic Forum. That was in 1971. The World Economic Forum is a forum that is spearheaded by a German economist called Klaus Schwab. And this is the mother organization that is spearheading this new world order agenda. And remember, this is the same organization that the group has taken full control of this country we call Kenya. You know, we have to speak as it is for us to understand where we are going, where we are, and where our problems began. The World Economic Forum works in subsidiary with the other Bretton Woods institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank. Together with them, spearheading the health agenda is the WHO and the United Nations. So these people had an agenda from the 1940s to build a world with a one government. When I talk of a one government, I'm talking of one military, one president, one currency, one system, judicial system, military system, to build one where the center of command will be under one leadership. So in this Africa we're talking about, I don't know how we got to this point where now Kenya has become the prototype for all these implementations. And I'm glad when my brother Willis Otieno was speaking, I'm glad he understands that Kenyans, we are being turned into slavery in day broad light. All these shenanigans and things you are seeing, all these policies and implementations that are being brought forward ever since the KK government got into office are all spearheaded and pushed to us by these globalist organizations. Number one, their biggest agenda is to depopulate the whole world. They are very clear in their agenda, and they say for the implementation of the New World Order, the first thing they have to do is to reduce the number of people on Earth from a number of about 8 billion to a maximum of 500 million to 1 billion people. And how do you do that? So their first implementations was things to do with food and agriculture. And that is why you'll notice most of the implementations and policies that are being implemented in this country from Uhuru Kenyatta's time were policies to do with health, food and agriculture, and land. Simply because they understood the only way to control mankind is to control the food. As it is said, he who feeds you controls you. So how are they able to manage, how are they able to control our food supply and our food agricultural practices? It is through policies in these governments that are puppets to these globalist organizations. Today in this country, we know very well that the entire assembly has been held captive by the executive. But at the same time, we have to understand that our entire leadership has also been held captive by these globalists. All these agricultural policies that are being implemented in Kenya are meant to take full control of our food production, food supply, and our entire agricultural practices. In the New World Order agenda, they state clearly that their main objective is to transfer food production and agricultural practices together with assets and land from individuals to the big corporations. in the sense that, as my brother Willis had said, we are being taken back to slavery. The New World Order agenda entails to take control of the entire ownership of properties, assets, and everything else on planet Earth. But the saddest thing is that we are being pushed towards an agenda that many Kenyans are not aware of, many Kenyans are not speaking about. Even our entire leadership, most of them don't know where these globalists are taking us
Correct.
to. So once they control the
Yes.
food, today you know very well that agriculture is under their control, and they managed to do it through policies. And this policy started during Uhuru Kenyatta's time, when Kinjuri brought forward a document called agricultural certification policy or something he brought about when he was the Minister of Agriculture, where they brought policies to do with seeds, where you cannot share seeds, and they allowed these multinational globalist organizations such as DuPont, Cargill, Monsanto, they allowed them to come and patent seeds here. Today in this country, it is a crime to even share seeds with your neighbor. Today in this country, it's a crime to use seeds that are not patented. And remember, most of these GMO seeds that were being implemented to plant and to consume are what you call terminator seeds. In the essence that once you use that seed, you cannot replant it in the next season. So what does that mean? It means if you need to plant in your next season, you must go back to them and they'll sell it to you at your price, and they can decide whether to sell it to you or not to sell it to you. So this is slavery.
Let me interrupt you a bit. So
Yes.
wadao kitu Mwesha anasema sisi tumekuwa slaves kwa slave market. Government imekuwa kama slave broker, au ndio wanapeleka kwa slave market, alafu sisi tunaenda tunauzwa huko. Na kuna three things zenye our brokers wanatufanyia. Kitu ya kwanza, wameuza health yetu. Ukitaka kujua wameuza health yetu, uangalie vizuri ni nani amechaguliwa kuwa minister wa health. Ni mtu ametoka WHO. Na nilikuwa naambia mtu jana, kama president angetaka kuemploy ama kupatia cabinet secretary wa health, mbona asingeita KMPDU awambie, cheki, nataka ni work na mtu mwenye mnataka. Hebu angalieni kwa hiyo union yenyu, ni nani manager mpoa mwenye anaweza fanya hiyo kazi. Mnaona? Ama aite governors. Governors wanakongana kitu inaitwa governors council. Kwa hiyo governors council kuna health committee. Akae nao waseme, huko kwa makaunti zenu, hebu angalieni ule daktari mwenye ni manager mwenye anafanya kazi poa, mlete ni work na yeye. Because huyo ndiye anaelewa shida zetu kwa county level. So huyo anaweza create synergy between the national government and the county government. Juga mnanipata hapo. So hao wameletewa mtu kutoka WHO akwe hapo kama minister. Unajua inamaanisha nini? Inamaanisha vaccines zitaanza kuja Kenya. Hiyo inamaanisha wewe kama ni mzazi utakuwa unaambiwa mtoto wako kesho atadungwa vaccine ya minyoo. Kesho ingine anaambiwa parent kuna vaccine ya homa ya nguruwe. Watoto wako watadungwa. Kesho watapewa madawa za minyoo. Umeelewa? Na watu hawaoni hiyo. Juzi nimeona madaktari wakicelebrate. Wakisema ametoka WHO. Hamuelewi the global agenda yenye Steve anaongelea. Sijui kama mnampata. He is talking about it. Alafu kuna history ya agriculture. Saa hizi mimi nakumbuka nikigrow up, my grandmother tulikuwa tunapanda mahindi, alafu tukivuna hiyo mahindi anachukua hiyo mahindi hiyo cob anaipeleka huko juu kwa jikoni yake. So wakati anapika hiyo moshi inaiwarm for a whole year. Hiyo mwaka inafuata anachukua hizo seeds anazisoak, alafu asubuhi tunaenda tunapanda. Saa hizi hauwezi. Ukinunua seed leo huwezi panda next year because hizo seeds zimekuwa patented. So tumenyang'anywa kitu inaitwa seed sovereignty. Huwezi panda chakula, ni mtu anakupandia hiyo chakula. Alafu slavery ya tatu ni yenye imetupeleka kwa street, economic slavery. Sasa sisi tumekuwa kama mbuzi kwa mnada. Ndio maana watu tuko kwa street. Tuko kwa street kwa sababu tumekuwa slaves. Ndio tunaongelea sana juu ya economic slavery, lakini mkumbuke kuna health slavery, kuna agriculture slavery. Na kwa hiyo health, ukitaka kujua mambo ya depopulation for example, kwa nini wana push hormonal contraceptives kila siku? Yet mwanamke anakuanga fertile only 6 days in a month. 6 days peke yake. ama 72 days in a year. Kwa nini adungwe kitu yenye nakaa kwa mwili yake for 5 years? Na watu hawaoni the agenda. Hii global agenda kina Bill Gates na nani, their aim is to kufanya sisi tukue slaves in our own country, in our own nation. Next time mtaambiwa sasa, wewe farmer, juu haupandi mahindi, kuna ile apartment tumejenga pale, free housing, affordable house, wacha tukupeleke huko. Hii shamba cha tukupeleke kama 100,000. Wewe tukupe 100,000, wewe tuachie shamba, tutakuwa tunapanda potatoes za kupeleka KFC ng'ambo. Hiyo ndio kitu wanatupangia, lakini watu hawaoni. Hiyo ndio kitu tunaongelea, inafaa muamke. Kama COVID-19 haikukufunza kitu, hakuna kitu taikufunza tena. Nyinyi mliona COVID-19 vile mlikuwa tunafungwa kama kondoo, tunafungiwa kwa manyumba. Yet tulisema in Africa hakuna vile COVID-19 itatu affect. Hakuna. Mkafungwa kwa manyumba, mkaambiwa mvae mask, mlikuwa mnakaa kama kondoo, mnadungwa mashindano huku na huku, hata mji shindano imetoka wapi, nani ameleta, nani amemanufacture, mnaambiwa tu endeni mdungwe. Na wewe pia unapanga line hapo kama kondoo.